Hey everyone, this is J7 Jace, bringing you a Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions multiplayer melee mode tier list. Now when it comes to PvP, there can be a lot of restrictions, rules, or just complete freedom. For this upload, I'm going to have to apply some J7 laws. So mine are, all of these characters and jobs have to be with their base stats and multipliers. So that means no using the generator to increase or decrease their stats. And second, both players have to have traps disabled. And those are my rules. So I'm going to allow things like, Brave Suit, Grand Armor, Ribbon, Reverie Shield, and so on. So with all that being said, let's get started. Now the worst thing in PvP is going to be the Mime. They can't equip anything or have any abilities. You can run some gimmicky team setups, which are pretty fun, but they aren't that great. And this goes and applies to the Onion Knight, which I'm also going to put in D tier. Now they do have wonderful stats when you master all their jobs, some of the best equipment, or the best equipment in the game, but because they can't equip any abilities and they can just physically attack, they are a liability. They are pretty tanky, with their high HP and Onion Armor and Onion Shield, but they're just better things to use in PvP. Now, the most insane character, or arguably the most insane, is going to be Balthier. He's an S tier. He's just so mobile with 4 move, 4 jump. He has a built-in safeguard. He has a good arsenal of equipment options. He can steal enemy equipment, steal heart, and barrage is just insane. It can never miss. It works around reaction abilities. Like, he's just wonderful. Like, if you don't think Balthier is insane, even in the single player, like, I think something's wrong with your tier list, but, everyone has their own opinion. But in PvP, he's just one of the best characters for all those reasons. Now, a low-key sleeper, which I don't think they're as good in the single player, but in multiplayer they can be scary. They're kind of a wild card if the RNG gods are on your side. The Orator, I'm going to put them in A tier. Even though their stats and multipliers aren't so good, Entice can be game-changing and breaking. So you can actually invite enemy characters in PvP to your party. Now you can make yourself immune to this status by having Ribbon or Cursed Ring. Not to mention, they can also use Insult, which causes Berserk, and Mimic Darlevon can cause sleep. Now the chances of this happening is somewhat lower, but if this happens in the game, that's a huge move. Not to mention, they can equip guns, you can give them Arts of War, and they can break enemy equipment at range, so A tier. Low-key sleeper. Surprise your friend and entice them. Now, in PvP, the Arithmetician is not going to be great. So you want to run low faith for the most part, so magic doesn't hurt you. And if you have low faith, Arithmetics, the magic, can hit you like a wet noodle. And their base stats and multipliers aren't good. Soul Bind, you're more than likely going to get finished in 1 or 2 hits anyway, so most likely 1 hit you're gonna KO'd anyway, so Soulbind isn't gonna save you. Like, accrue XP and JP, who needs this when you're 99 and in PvP? So I don't like them at all. They can be destructive if your opponent has high faith on their characters, so... And then you put, Arithmetics on something with better MA. So, I don't think they're... I'm going to give them C. I'm going to be a bit generous, but for the most part, you want to run Faith. Now, another very strong character is going to be Orlando, of course. Why is that? It's self-explanatory, really. Holy, Divine Knight, Dark Knight abilities. His only real negatives are that he can't equip Ribbon and make him completely immune to negative status ailments, but other than that, you know, he's amazing. He can KO multiple enemies. He can break enemy equipment. He can heal himself back up. Good equipment options with hats, clothing. So, if you think Orlando is weaker, like, I mean, maybe in the lore because he's old and out of his prime, but gameplay wise, no, he's insane, even in multiplayer. So he's one of the best as well. I still think Balthier is slightly better because of Safeguard and Barrage, but you know, Orlando's at the top as well. The White Mage, even though they're fast, I gotta give them D tier. Like, you don't want to be using things like Protect and Shell when you can get that with equipment items, or even re-raise. Like Brave Suit and Grand Armor like is gonna give you all that stuff anyway. Regenerate and Arcane Defense, like what's the point? Like, they can be actually sort of good if you give them like Eido and they just run up to enemies or teleport in, but just White Magic as a whole, you don't want to be using that. Even Holy, like Low Faith, they have stuff that absorb it. So C tier, like, they can do well with Eido. Which brings us to the next two I'm going to talk about, the Samurai. So the Samurai's base is going to be weak. Like, you don't want to be using Samurai for the most part, but Shida Hadori is a solid reaction ability, and Eido with like Chiriji Daden, Murasame, and Kiyomori. Like, you want to use that Protect Shell instant on all your party, not casting stuff like Protect Shell or Wall. But the Samurai only has really good PA, so I'm giving them the B ranking more on their skill set. So the B is there. I'm looking for her. Where is the Time Mage? There she is. So the Time Mage as well. Time Magic you really don't want to be using for the most part because you can get haste with Brigand's Glove. And with Low Faith, like, the magic spells aren't going to be hitting you unless you're very, very unlucky. However, Mana Shield and Teleport are amazing. Like, you're going to want Mana Shield to take a hit from a very strong attack. So they are B for their skill set. They have solid MA, so you could run Eido on them from the Samurai, so they are there. Now, speaking of the other magic users, I do want to sort of get them out of the way. The Black Mage, I'm going to put in A tier. Their MA multiplier is just so insane. Give them Eido, you're going to run up and low. They can annihilate an enemy team with Chiriji Daden alone. You know, Arcane Strength, back some MA gear. Very, very destructive. They're just a bit on the fragile side. Actually, they could be A+, to be honest. Yeah, A+. Black Mage just teleporting and Chiriji Daden groups down. A+. Now, I did talk about magic users. Summoner. To me, they're just a bit too slow with summons. Like, you can give them Eido, just like all the other magic users, but like, why use them when he needs the Black Mage? Summons are too slow. Golem is low-key good, though. You know, that's a very overlooked ability. It can protect you from jump, like that physical attack. So, but then you're gonna have to run a higher faith team comp, so I don't like that with the Summoner. Now the Mystic, like, they can cause some negative status elements, but they're also faith based. The two-handed pole build is extremely gimmicky, and they're just other things you want to use when it comes to damage. I mean, defense boost can be good. Mana Font as well. Actually, that Mana Font can be insane. You give that with Mana Shield, of course. Yeah, I'm gonna give them B based on their utility and skill set. So B for the Mystic. Now let's look at some unique characters, because I've been kind of going at the generics for a bit. So the Divine Knight Melidel, I like her a lot. She has good attack. Unyielding Blade is insane. Now it can be countered with Safeguard, but if you give her Darkness, she's very, very good. You know, Night Swords. She's female, so Ribbon as well. Like Tyner Rouge can also do that. So she's definitely one of the best things in the game. So she gets countered hard by Safeguard, but even then, if no one's ever using that, she can crush and break your Grand Armor or Brave Suit, just like Orlando. Actually, she could be an S. No, actually, I'll put her in A+, because she doesn't have Holy Sword. That being said, we got to go to everyone's favorite female character, or character in general. Like, even though she has less move, Holy Sword is great. You can't counter Holy Sword. The only thing that counters it is Mana Shield or very, very high defense. So she's up there in S as well. Actually, I still think Orlando and Balthier are better than her, but she's one of the best characters for sure. Now, Raze. I'm gonna put her in A+. She's also one of the best characters in the game because of her stats. Like, give her Speechcraft, and her chances of enticing are going to be higher than everyone else's. She can also use and run Iaido. Another thing that you could do with her is deploy some Tiamats or Greater Hydras. She quicks them, and they use Tri-Thunder, Tri-Flame, Dark Whisper. Like, she is insane. The only thing holding her back for me is that she can't equip Brave Suit or Grand Armor in Dragonkin. So that's about it. But other than that, she's so destructive. Can't forget about Holy Breath as well. So there's that. You can do several setups with Raze. Just amazing. Beowulf, I gotta go with her fiance, the hubby, Beowulf. Too bad Spellblade is just so based on faith. But, I mean, he can still do damage with his Night Sword. With Darkness, he's very, very solid. He has Form Move as well. But I think there are just other things that are better than Beowulf. Like, he's insane in the single player, but he's pretty much obsolete, like his Spellblade, if you're going to run Bow Faith. But he can still do damage. I like that he can physically attack. So I'm going to put him in A, personally. Now the Dancer, a female Dancer in PvP. I'm going to give them B tier. Like, Slow Dance, if you can get even like one off and take off one from several enemies, like their speed set, or get in, or have it land a few times, I should say, that's destructive. And if you give them, you know, Safeguard, Ribbon, Brave Suit, like, you're not gonna kill that female Dancer or a female character with Dance. So that can be insane. Yeah, I think B tier is right for them. Like, they don't do great damage, but just having someone slow constantly, this always being a problem. Like, you always have to KO them. Dancer for B tier. Which brings us to the male counterpart of the Dancer, the Bard. I'm gonna put them in C tier. Like, their songs aren't gonna be too useful. Like, they're slow, and why do you want to grant re-raise and regen or all those positive status effects when you can equip them with your armor? And their stats are just bad. So I mean, move plus 3 is a good skill set, so that's why I'm not putting them in D, but and their MA is alright. Like, you could use Iaido on them, but they're still nowhere near as good as the other things here, in my opinion. You're giving up too much damage by running a Bard, I think. Another very, very good one is the Ninja. Let's rank the Ninja. So the Ninja with high speed, Mesh Shield, Mana Font, you can give them jump, and they'll just be jumping on everything. Like, in the match, you know? Like, give them Vesper, and they're going to be doing awesome damage. You can even give them equipped pole arms with Javelin, but Vesper is more than enough. Like, the ninjas are so fast. Like, don't even dual build. Just attack them from range. The only way to avoid jump is with Shida Hadori, Golem, or Mana Shield. But, like a 20-19 speed ninja? Oh my goodness. Scary in PvP. They can KO things. The only way to counter them is, of course, you know, Brave Suit and etc. But if you run a team of them and they're just jumping up in the air, nightmare. So this brings us to the Dragoon. I'm going to put them in B. Like, they're just too slow, in my opinion. And jump is better utilized on faster characters, like the Ninja that I mentioned. And the Thief. So this is like weaker, Balthier, and so on. Like, they have good utility with steel, but their damage output is just too low. I mean, they are very fast, but their damage, like the Ninja, is just so much better. Like, why are you going to ever use Sticky Fingers in PvP or Gale Game Heart, right? So it's just not great at all. But I mean, with the jump build, they can still do some work. So even in PvP, I've given this job class, even though I love its art and I love long-ranged attacks, the archer, like, the archers really aren't that great. Like, I don't think they're as bad as Mimes and Onion Knights, but yeah, their damage, they can be pretty decent, like if you have the height advantage and they shoot down with their Sagittarius bow, but aim is just too slow. And I mean, they can work with concentration, but they're going to be shut down by Shida Hadori completely. Their stats aren't so good, but they aren't completely bad. So archers in C tier, like, they are not like the archers from Let Us Clean Together. Oh man, that was a good time. Mustadio, he's interesting. I'm going to put him in C. He's like nowhere near as good as Balthier. Like, he can arm and leg shot, but like his damage isn't good enough. Like, better than average speed though. But there are just other things that can do more damage and are better to be used in PvP. So Rafa, just being female, man. Females reign supreme in the late game, and once you get the best things. Like, Rafa is going to be an A just because she's female. She can just run a indestructible female build on her, and Sky Matcher can hit really hard. I know there's a charge time, and you can always absorb the elements with Sage's Ring, but yeah, it's hard to reduce her damage, you know, and she's pretty fast. I wish she had that 4 move, but yeah, low-key sleeper, especially in War of the Lions, where, you know, her attacks will favor the Cinder Tile, and if it can strike like 6+ times, like, no one's surviving that. Like, Sky Mantra will work around Mana Shield. Speaking of which, another low-key sleeper is going to be Merrick. So I did talk about running low faith, and I do like that. However, his attacks, Nether Mantra, are like, the damage is based on how low his faith is, as well as target faith. So he's a low-key sleeper as well. So I personally like him in B, but because he's a male and he can't equip, ribbons and all that, I still think Rafa is better, and she's faster, so there's that. The generic Squire, I don't like them. Like, you can give them Moonblade and Darkness, but they're still just too weak. Like, their overall stats, like, why do you want to have JP boost in multiplayer? And focus, like, I mean, I guess with enough focus you can do well, but there are other things that are much stronger, which leads us into Luso and Ramza. Just improved Squires on TRT. And I gotta show a clip of like Vitor Belfort kicking Michael Bisping and Luke Rockhold right now. So I like them in A tier. They have wonderful equipment options. Like metal and Huntcraft is great. And just use Shout. Like, why use Focus when you can increase your speed and bravery and everything else? Like, they're low-key strong. Give them an indestructible build. I mean, they can't equip Ribbon, but Grand Armor, Safeguard, and they're going to be very, very tough and annoying to deal with in PvP. And give them Darkness, like a sword skill. They're going to do very, very well. So the Chemist, I'm going to put them in A tier because they have the best revive with Phoenix down. And Auto Potion isn't going to be useful in PvP because the 150, it's like, it's easy. Like, you can easily do more damage than 150. Elixir is also very, very solid. Heals you back to full health. They have guns, so you can also give them Arts of War. But Safeguard is such an insane ability. Like, it can completely shut down some builds and characters. Like, it can shut down, Miss Malidal here, daughter of Formarv, sister of Islude, older sister of Islude. So there's that. The Monk I like them in B tier. I feel like there's other action abilities that will do a lot better. Their reaction abilities aren't going to be that good in PvP. Like, critical recover HP, like, you're just going to be KO'd in one blow. I think Life Bond doesn't heal for enough. And you got to be on, like, the same elevation to use martial arts, so there's that. Next, Cloud Strife. You don't ever want to be using his limit. Like, it's just going to be too slow. Like, C. I mean, he can use Moonblade with Darkness, but it's like, he'll be better than the Squire in that aspect, but he's just not a good unique character. Now, if this was like in terms of lore and strength, yeah, he'll wipe everyone here, but that's not the case. This is just multiplayer gameplay. Another very good one is the Dark Knight. Darkness, like, come on. They have good PA. All the other stats aren't good, like their evasion, move, speed, and so on, but Darkness alone, and then they can equip items. They're like a weaker Orlando. Like, Orlando is still much, much better, but yeah, Darkness. Sanguine Sword heals them up. Don't bother using Fell Swords. A good way to counter Darkness, especially Sanguine Sword, is to, Zombie and Cursed Ring. You can do that, but in most cases, they're going to do fantastic. The Knight. Like, Arts of War is nowhere near as good as, Malidal and Orlando here. Like, even though they have high HP and PA, like, you're still going to be not going to be able to tank a lot of these attacks. So they have good equipment options and etc. You could give them Darkness or, dual wield and have them try to break equipment. I do think they're one of the better things and be like they can be used as a base pretty well. And with grand armor and like ribbon, they can be pretty frustrating, but yeah, I mean they're not bad. Like just because they're in B tier, like these aren't bad. This is like pretty good, and this is good, great. It's gonna be awesome. So S tier. So there's that. The Geomancer in B tier, like their negative status ailments, like depending on the map you're, or the stage you're fighting on, like if you can get like a toad, you're in the water at like, Zurchill Falls and you have that land, that can be good. And you can also run Iaido on them and they can cheaty Jiroden, like their MA is also pretty solid. EA. You can give them darkness as well. So there's that. And of course Brave Suit and all that. Like PvP can be hectic. Like what I'm talking about in the video, I'm sure there's a lot of other strategies people have come up with, and there's also Tactics League where they changed up a lot of this, like for more balance. Like in vanilla War of the Lions PvP, it's hectic and fun, but there are some things that are clearly better than the others. So this was my tier list for Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions melee mode. Let me know what you think of this, and yeah, it's just to have a good time. Now if you want to be try hard in this, there's no prize money, and I don't think there's a lot of viewers on Twitch or YouTube. We do it because we love FFT and my community, and also, Tactics League, Tactics Live Tournament. We just love this game more than any other content creator, and I'm saying that out loud. So once again, thank you so much if you made it this far into the video. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to show your support. Much appreciated. Take care, and I'll see you all next time.